Good day everyone, and welcome to another live class, another class. So today we are going to be talking about data types in JavaScript. So in our last class we talked about string and number. So today we are going to be talking about the various data types we have in JavaScript. So we have string, number, big int, boolean, undefined, null, symbol, object. On object data type we have an object, an array, and a date. We talked about variables last week, about using let, const, and var to declare a variable. So a variable can hold any type of data, any data type in JavaScript. So examples of data types in JavaScript: for numbers we have 16, 7.5. They can be written with or without decimals. We have strings. Like I said, you can declare a string with either a single quote or a double quote. They are both valid. What object? An object is a name value pair. Is assigning like creating a variable and assigning a value into it, into a curly bracket, then it's being separated by a comma, something like that. That's an object. Then under boolean, it will either have true or false. Then under arrays, these are they are like list of elements separated by commas. And under dates, we have new dates where we can pass in dates. Is a date type. So moving on to practice some examples. So last week we talked about some mathematical operations and um, creating and adding things together. We talked about concatenating strings and a lot more. So today we have 16, which is a number, and code, which is a string. So if we decide to add this together using the plus operator sign, what do you think will be the value of our variable results? What do you think could it be? Could it be code 16 times 16 code? Okay, so to check for that, go to our console. We say let results equals to 16 plus code. And we can see console.log results. So yeah, basically it adds both the 16 and code for us together. So what the plus operator sign does when it sees an int with a string, it treats the number as a string and concatenates both together, like linking them together as one. That's what the plus operator does for you. So what about, let's try let results to 16 plus 9 plus name. What do you think this will give us? Will it give us 16, 9 and name? Okay, let's see. We now have console.log name2. Okay, sorry, result 2, console.log. So we have 25. Why does this give us 25? Oh, we forgot to put the name in a string. So always remember that your texts are meant to be in strings, either single quotes or double quotes. So assign again, let's result 2 equals to 16 plus 10.5 plus a name. So you can see console.log results 2. So we see what happens here is that JavaScript treats the numbers, because they are both numbers. JavaScript uses the plus operator to add them together to get our result. But when it gets to the string here, we have name. and JavaScript concatenates both our results by adding these two with the name. So moving on, what do you see? We have already practiced this. We saw that JavaScript will add 20 and 9, then concatenate it with JavaScript is live. Like I said earlier, when adding integers and strings in JavaScript treats the ints as strings and concatenates both of them together. So moving on to the next one, we have JavaScript types. What do I mean by JavaScript types? When I said JavaScript has a data type, that means that it can either be a string, a number, a big int, a float, and so on and so forth, and objects. When I mean JavaScript script types are dynamic, that means the same variable can hold different data types. So we can declare x, and we can reassign. We can say x is 5, then we can reassign x to John. 5 is a number, John is the string, and they are both different values for x. So let's practice this with our console so you understand what I'm trying to say. So if I say let x here, we haven't given any value to x. X here has a data type undefined, so we'll get there soon. So moving on, we say let x. We have declared our x. When we talk about declaring a variable and assigning a variable, we have declared our x, which has a data type undefined. So here we can say x is equals to David. Then we can say x is equals to David, which is in a string. Don't forget string. So x is equals to David. If you console.log David x, then we can now reassign x is equals to 2. Then we console.log x. Can you see what this does? We declared the variable x, we assigned it to David, we console.log it, we logged it, it brought out David. Then we assigned the variable again to 2, then it brought it, we logged it out. So that's what it means by being JavaScript types being dynamic. That means they can hold different data types. So now moving on, data types in JavaScript. Talked about strings earlier. If are written in single or double quotes. For example, name equals to programmer, name to students. So numbers. On numbers, all JavaScript numbers are stored as decimal numbers, floating points. But numbers can be written with or without decimals. Like I also said earlier, the calculation, n can be written as 1.0 and n can also be written as 1. They are both valid. They are both valid numbers, data types in JavaScript. So moving on our data types in JavaScript, we have big ints. JavaScript big int is a new data type that can be used to store integer values that are too big to be represented by a normal JavaScript number. Example, let x equals to big int into string, a lot of numbers. Big int is like a combination of different numbers to form a very, very large number that cannot be easily assigned using the JavaScript number type. So things to note on using big ints. Big ints cannot have decimals. That means the disadvantage of that is that you cannot use decimals with big numbers. Using the big int data type, you cannot perform math operation between a big int and a number. So take note of this. So you might want to do an operation, let's say a very large number, and you assign the data type of big int, and you want to perform a mathematical operation between a big int and a number type. Just know that that's not possible with JavaScript as for now. I also talked about booleans earlier. I said they have two values, true or false. So we declared the variable, assigned it to 5. We assigned y also to 5, assigned z to 6. X is equals to y, it returns true. This equals to serves as it checks if the x and y are the same thing. While a single equals to will assign a value to a variable. Take note of that. I talked about the equal sign being assigning values to variables, while the double equal sign checks for the validity of the statement or for the variable if they are both the same thing. So we also did for your x equals to z, which return false because 5 is not equal to 6. I hope you understand that. So moving on, we're getting deeper. So we have arrays in JavaScript. I talked about arrays earlier when we mentioned about the data types in JavaScript, about the example. I said arrays are written like with square brackets. They are items separated by commas. What do I mean by that? I mean that in writing arrays, they are just list of elements separated by commas. They're just like let's say shopping list. You can create const shopping list, and you can give pass values to that. Okay, you want to buy clothes, book, bag, and a lot of other things you need. So you can just create an array and pass all those values into it, and separate each of them using a comma. That's basically what an array in JavaScript is for. So array indexes are zero based, which means the first item is 0, the second is 1, and so on. This also makes us able to access elements in an array using the index. So let's go to our console to check what we have said about now. We talked about array, right? So now let's create an array. Let's say const shopping list. Let's name okay. Let's say bag, shoe, clothes, price, pepper, okay, and let's say the last one, floor. So now that we have an array called shopping list, so if we say we want to access the first element in our array called shopping list, we call shopping list, and we can see 0. So you can see the value outside. You see, it prints it logs out bag for us because bag has the index 0, and which is the first element in the array. So we can have 0. We said the index starts with 0, so we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth. So so if we have like let's say hundreds of items in our array, how do we access the last element? Well, in JavaScript we can access the last element of our array using negative index. We have shopping list, and you can see -1. This will return the last elements in the array for us. Console.log shopping. Oh, okay. Shopping list 0, 1, 2, 0, 5. This returns the last elements in our list for us, and so on and so forth. So we also have so that log shopping list and say 0 to 5. Okay, so moving on in our data types with JavaScript, we have talked about arrays and we've tried various things and objects we can use with arrays. In Python and JavaScript syntax are similar. So if you understand list in Python, to be similar to understanding an array in JavaScript. So moving on our data types in JavaScript, we have objects. JavaScript objects are written with curly braces. The object properties are written with name value pairs separated by commas. So for example, created an object person here. First person equals to first name John, last name Doe, age 50, eye color blue. This creates an object called person and assign a value to each name in the object. So what this does is that it creates an object. These object types are very good and are very helpful in creating let's say values, maybe name and properties of stuff. So for example, we have a car. I want to have name properties, so we can say the car, we can give it a name, we can give it a model, give it a color, give it different properties, year, model, when it was made, the tire, the brand, the engine, and so on. So they are using JavaScript objects are very helpful in describing items using methods which have properties, various properties. So in JavaScript, you have type of operator. The type of operator in JavaScript is an operator used to find the data type of a JavaScript variable. So for example, let's say using our console log. So we have talked about string, number, big int, boolean, and what else so far? Objects and arrays. So if we say type of, let's say me, return string, because me is in a column, so sorry, is in a string, is a string embraced in a single string. So we have type of me, which is in a single string, which the type of data type is string. So moving on, type of, you can say let's say 2.5, return a number because 2.5 is a number. Okay, now let's try something different. Let's say type of, let's say we want to perform a mathematical operation. Let's say 2 plus 5 minus 2, and close our brackets. You see, it returns number for us because it calculates the value of this, then returns the number. So now let's try something different. Let's say type of let's say 2 plus JavaScript. You see, it returns string for us because earlier we talked about concatenating in JavaScript that it will treat the 2 as a string, and it add both the 2 and JavaScript together, which will make it a string. So now let's say we created an array earlier, we called it shopping list. So let's say type of shopping list. It returns object for us because create is an object because an array is under the data type object. If you go back to our first slide, so we talked about objects, where under objects we have array and dates. So we have talked about big ints, we've talked about numbers, talked about arrays, talked about objects. So moving on, we have undefined. I said earlier that when we declare a variable, you can declare a variable without assigning a value to that variable. So you can declare something like let's name, yes, it's okay, sorry, let's name. It returns undefined. What am I let's name, okay, undefined. Yes, it returns a value undefined because we have not yet assigned a variable to the to name. So in JavaScript, you can have a data type called undefined, where you are yet to assign a variable. When you are yet to assign a value to a variable.